I was 22 and broke when I took the job at Pinewood Depot, a retail store tucked into the dying bones of an old strip mall. The listing said they needed someone to work night shift, stocking shelves, cleaning, nothing fancy. I didn't ask questions. I just needed a paycheck. My best friend Cassie thought I was insane. "You know no one shops there, right?" she said as she helped me lace up my boots. "That place is creepy as hell." I shrugged. "A job's a job." The manager was a jittery woman named Donna who barely made eye contact. She handed me a red vest and a set of keys, muttering about break room rules and closing procedures while chewing her lip raw. She didn't ask for ID, didn't even ask my last name, just pointed at the back and said, "You're with Kyle tonight. He'll train you." Kyle was waiting near the loading dock, arms crossed, a smirk on his face like he already hated me. He was tall, lanky, with greasy hair that hung into his eyes and a voice that grated like sandpaper. "You're the new kid," he said, then handed me a box cutter. "Don't screw around." We unloaded a pallet of cheap lamps, unpacked them in silence. Occasionally, he'd glance at the ceiling like he heard something. I tried to ask about it, but he ignored me. Around 1 a.m., he finally spoke. "Whatever happens, don't go near aisle 7. I blinked. "Why?" He didn't answer. Just walked off toward the back room, muttering something under his breath. It sounded like, "It's not real if you don't look at it." I tried to shake it off. I mean, retail jobs are weird. You get strange coworkers, long hours, ghosts in the walls of the break room microwave. But there was something off about the store. The air felt stale and heavy, like it hadn't moved in years. Half the lights flickered. The security monitors in the office looped footage from hours ago. And aisle 7, it didn't show up on the store map. Just skipped from 6 to 8 like someone had tried to erase it. By 2 a.m., I was alone. Kyle had vanished. I looked in the stockroom, checked the bathrooms, even yelled his name down the main aisles. Nothing. So I did what any terrified rookie would do. I called Cassie. "I think this place is haunted," I whispered. She laughed. "You lasted longer than I thought. I'm serious. My coworker bailed, and there's this weird aisle that doesn't exist, and that's when the smoke detector went off. A single shrill screech that echoed through the store like a dying scream. I nearly dropped the phone. "You okay?" Cassie said on the line. I gotta go," I said, heart pounding. The sound wasn't coming from any specific place. It was like it came from inside my head. I grabbed the office phone and called 911. It rang and rang and rang. No answer. I tried again. Nothing. I pulled out my phone, no signal, no Wi-Fi, no bars, just an empty SOS symbol. I was about to bolt for the front door when I heard a sound, soft, rhythmic, like something being dragged. It was coming from aisle 7. I should have left. I should have run, but curiosity is a hell of a thing. I crept toward the forbidden aisle, each step heavier than the last. When I turned the corner into aisle 7, I froze. It was wrong, longer than it should have been. Much longer. The shelves stretched endlessly into the dark, filled with old merchandise that looked untouched by time. VHS tapes, expired baby formula, clothes with brands I didn't recognize. Dust coated everything like a second skin. The lights above flickered, but some didn't flicker. They pulsed. At the far end, something moved. A figure crawling slowly across the linoleum. It was wearing a red vest. Its limbs were too long, too thin. It dragged itself forward with bony arms, its head tilted at an unnatural angle. I turned to run, but the aisle had changed. It no longer connected to the main store, just more shelves, more dark. The thing croaked, "Help me." It was Kyle. His face was pale, stretched, eyes wide with terror. He tried to reach for me, but his hand dissolved into ash, and then he was gone. The lights went out. I ran blind through the dark, arms stretched out in front of me, crashing into shelves and displays. The smoke alarm was still blaring, but now it sounded like laughter. Mocking, metallic laughter that bounced off the walls. I finally found the break room door. It was open. Cassie was there. She stood by the vending machine, staring at me like I was a wild animal. "I didn't know where else to go," she said. "You stopped answering." "What are you doing here?" I panted. "How did you get in?" She looked confused. "You texted me. Said to come through the side entrance. The door was open." "I didn't text you." She held up her phone. The message was there, clear as day. "Help. Back entrance. Now." That's when I noticed something on the security monitor above the fridge. It showed us in the break room, me and Cassie, But there was someone else behind me, a figure in a red vest, watching, smiling. I turned, no one there. Cassie was shaking. This place isn't right. I think we need to go. We bolted for the front door. It opened, thank God, and we spilled into the parking lot, breathless. The lights from a cop car hit us like salvation. An officer stepped out, mid-40s. Calm, too calm. You two okay? He asked. We need, I said. There's someone or something in the store. A man, my coworker. He's gone. He stared at me. We've had calls about this place before. You got my call? He shook his head. No one's answered 911 from this area in hours. The lines are fried. We came because someone triggered the silent alarm. Cassie and I exchanged glances. Wait, I said. So no one called you? He nodded toward the store. We'll take a look. Stay here. 2 officers entered. 5 minutes passed. 10. Then the radio on the squad car crackled. All clear, a voice said. The officer came back, face unreadable. There's no one in there. Place is locked up tight. You sure you two weren't just messing around? I worked there tonight, I shouted. Ask Donna, ask. The officer raised a hand. There's no Donna on the employee roster. Store's been closed for renovation for 6 months. Hasn't been a night shift since February. I laughed. I laughed because it was easier than screaming. Cassie grabbed my arm, pulling me back toward her car. We're leaving. Now. I didn't argue. We drove in silence. The store grew smaller in the rearview mirror, swallowed by the night. Do you think it's haunted? She asked softly. I don't know, I said. But I saw Kyle. He begged for help. She gripped the wheel tighter. I looked him up while you were in there. Kyle Bryant, night shift worker, went missing February 3rd, last seen at Pinewood Depot. I stared at her. That's not all, she said. She handed me her phone. A news article, photo of Kyle. Below it, the byline. Reporter Donna Haynes, I blinked. The manager? Cassie nodded. Went missing a week later. Something cold settled in my chest. What about the security footage? I asked. You saw it too, right? In the break room? Cassie didn't answer. That Cass? She didn't look at me. I never saw a monitor, she said. The break room was empty. I stared at her, heart pounding. You were the only one who saw anything. My mouth went dry. Then, who did you really talk to? Her eyes flicked to the mirror. I don't know. And behind us, in the back seat, the red vest was waiting. I never liked camping, but it was Sam's birthday, and I owed him one. He had been there for me after the breakup, after I lost my job, after everything. So when he suggested a weekend trip in the Pinebrook Forest with a few close friends, just tents, beers, and the stars, I said yes. Reluctantly. There were 5 of us: Sam, his girlfriend Lily, our mutual friend Jordan, Jordan's younger brother Caleb, and me. We drove up early Friday morning, parked near the ranger station, and hiked a couple miles in before setting up camp near a stream. It was peaceful. Birds chirping, the scent of pine in the air, and no signal on our phones, which Sam insisted was the best part. The first night was uneventful. We made a fire, drank cheap whiskey, and told stories. Caleb tried to spook us with tales about people going missing in the woods, of eyes that watched you from the trees, but he was 17 and full of drama. I didn't buy it. I just wanted to survive the weekend without snapping from the lack of Wi-Fi. The next morning, things started getting weird. Sam's phone was gone. We searched the tents, backpacks, even retraced our steps down to the stream. Nothing. It's not like I left it on a rock, he muttered, tearing through his duffel bag. I had it in the side pocket of my tent. Maybe an animal dragged it off, Lily offered. Yeah, because bears love texting, Sam snapped. I could see the tension starting to build. Caleb joked that maybe the forest spirits took it, and Jordan told him to shut up. By noon, we decided to hike a little deeper into the woods. It was something to do while we waited for Sam to cool down. Caleb found some weird prints in the mud, barefoot, human-sized, but the toes were long, like fingers. He laughed nervously. Probably someone pulling a prank. But there was no one else out here. We hadn't seen a soul since we parked. We walked for hours, and by the time we got back, the fire pit was smashed. Stones scattered. The logs we'd arranged were tossed around like toys. Lily's camera, which she'd left on a tripod to film a time-lapse, was broken in half. We stared at the wreckage. Someone's screwing with us, Sam said, scanning the trees. We decided to double-check our perimeter. That's when we found the first camera, one of those old wildlife trail cams mounted to a tree. It had been ripped off and stomped into the dirt. Caleb pointed out another about 30 feet away. Same deal, lens cracked, casing destroyed. We found 3 more before sundown, all busted. This wasn't animals, Jordan said. Someone knows we're here. The rest of the night was tense. We didn't bother with stories or drinks. We just sat by the fire, flinching at every snap of a branch. No one slept. Around 2 a.m., I thought I heard whispering outside my tent, low and rhythmic, like chanting. I called out, "Who's there?" And the sound stopped. I didn't get up. I didn't want to know. In the morning, Jordan was gone. His tent was unzipped, his boots still beside the flap. We searched the woods for hours. Caleb was frantic, calling his brother's name until his voice broke. We found nothing. No tracks, no gear. Just a feeling that the trees were watching us. We decided to hike back to the ranger station, only we couldn't find the trail. The path we'd taken in, the little orange markers on the trees, gone. We tried going in a straight line, using the sun to guide us, but the forest looped in on itself. Trees we'd passed hours ago showed up again. Around dusk, we found something. A shallow ditch near a collapsed log. Something white poking from the dirt. We thought it was a branch at first until Caleb brushed the dirt away. It was a skull. We all backed away. No one said a word. A moment later, Sam spotted something else. Torn fabric caught in the roots of a tree. A red flannel shirt. Jordan's shirt. Lily vomited in the bushes. We camped again, this time with weapons, pocket knives, branches, anything we could find. Caleb refused to sleep. He just stared into the dark, clutching a flashlight that flickered every few seconds. At some point, I passed out. I don't know how long I was asleep, but I woke up cold and alone. My tent was empty. Caleb and Lily's were slashed open, torn like paper. Sam's was gone entirely, as if it had never been there. I ran through the trees, yelling for them, and then I saw it. A person, or something shaped like one, standing between the trees. Pale, tall, too tall. Its arms hung lower than they should, fingers grazing the ground. No eyes, just smooth skin where a face should be. I froze. It tilted its head like it was listening. Then it turned and walked away, each step silent, despite the dry leaves. I ran. I don't remember how long or how far, just running, crashing through brush, tearing my clothes on thorns. Eventually, I tripped and fell, face first into the dirt. When I sat up, I saw lights. Artificial, flashing red and blue. The ranger station. I stumbled to the door, pounded on it until someone opened up. A deputy, maybe in his 30s, eyes wide. "Jesus Christ," he said. "You okay?" I collapsed onto the floor and tried to explain. About the trip, the missing people, the remains. They brought me water, blankets, called in backup. Another officer arrived, took my statement. When I mentioned the skull, they exchanged glances. They knew something. Finally, one of them said, "You said you came in yesterday?" I nodded. "You sure about that?" "What do you mean?" The deputy showed me the date on his phone. It was August 14th. We had entered the forest on July 2nd. I blinked. "That's not possible." "You've been gone for nearly 6 weeks," he said. I shook my head. "No, it was 2 days. Maybe 3. He tapped the screen again. "We've had people out there searching for you since the 3rd. The forest cameras were all destroyed. We thought you were dead." That's when it hit me. The cameras. They weren't watching us for safety. They were containment. The Rangers knew something was in there, something they couldn't explain. I asked about Sam, Lily, Caleb. They never found them. Just me. And Jordan's remains. When I left the station, they told me not to speak to the press, that it was under investigation, that wild animals were likely to blame. But I know what I saw. And sometimes when I dream, I see that faceless thing again. Watching. Waiting. I check my phone every morning now, just to be sure the date hasn't changed without me. I don't usually go out, not because I don't like people, I just don't trust them. Still, I let my guard down that Friday night because Sam begged me to go. He said it'd be chill, just some drinks at a new bar downtown and a chance to celebrate his promotion. We hadn't hung out in months and I missed my friend. So I said yes. The place was called The Hollow, tucked between two closed storefronts like it didn't want to be found. No signs, no lights except for a flickering neon bar in the window. Inside, though, it was packed. Red lights glowed like embers, and the air buzzed with music and cheap perfume. We found seats near the back, right next to a jukebox that hadn't worked since the 90s, judging by the dust. Sam ordered tequila shots. I wanted to take it slow, but I didn't want to be the killjoy either, so I threw the first one back with him. After the third shot, everything started feeling hazy, like the room had softened around the edges. That's when the guy appeared. He wasn't there one moment, and then suddenly he was, sitting next to me like he'd been invited. Tall, pale, wearing a jacket too heavy for July. He smiled, but there was something wrong with it, too wide, too deliberate, like he was rehearsing being human. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, already pulling a stool closer. Sam, drunk and grinning, clapped him on the back. "Sure, man. More the merrier." I didn't like it. Not the guy, not the timing. My instincts screamed at me, but I ignored them. It was a party night, after all. The guy said his name was Eli. Said he was from out of town. I noticed he didn't drink, not even water. He kept asking questions, though. What we did for work, where we lived, if we came here often. Sam talked. I just watched Eli's hands. They never moved. Not once. At some point, I must have gone to the bathroom. I remember gripping the sink, my face flushed and dripping. I felt like I was floating outside myself, detached. When I came back to the table, Sam and Eli were gone. I checked my phone, one missed call from Sam. I listened to the voicemail. His voice was low, slurred, scared. "Dude, don't trust him. Get out of there. I messed up. I think he put something in my..." The message cut off. Panic surged through me. I rushed outside into the muggy summer air, dialing Sam's number again and again. No answer. The streets were almost empty, just shadows shifting under flickering lights. Then a car rolled up to the curb. Black Prius. The Uber I had requested earlier, though I didn't remember doing it. My name was written in glowing letters on a screen in the dash. The driver, a woman with short curly hair and tired eyes, glanced back. "You okay?" I hesitated. I didn't know where I was going, only that I had to move. "Yeah, just drive." She pulled away from the curb. I leaned back, trying to steady my breathing. We passed dark buildings, closed shops, streets I didn't recognize. Then I saw it, a glimpse in the side mirror, a face in the rear window, pale, wide smiling. Eli. I turned around, heart hammering, but the back seat was empty. "You saw him too?" the driver said. "What?" "That man," she said slowly, eyes fixed on the road. "The one who follows people out of the hollow. You shouldn't talk to him." I stared at her. "Who are you?" She didn't answer, just drove. I reached for my phone. No signal, no bars, just the spinning icon where my service should be. "Stop the car," I said. "We're almost there," she said. "Where is there?" I asked. She looked at me in the mirror. "Where your friend went." I yanked the door handle. It was locked. Then everything went black. I woke up in a small white room, fluorescent lights above, beeping machines beside me, an IV in my arm. My tongue felt thick, mouth dry as sand. A nurse noticed I was awake and called for someone. A moment later, a police officer stepped in. He looked tired. "You're lucky to be alive," he said. "Someone dumped you outside Mercy General around 4 this morning. You'd been drugged." Heavy stuff. My head throbbed as I sat up. "Where's Sam?" The officer's face shifted. Something like discomfort. "We're trying to piece that together. Can you tell me what happened?" I told him everything I remembered. The bar, Eli, the Uber, the driver who spoke in riddles. He didn't say anything for a long moment. Then he pulled something from a folder and laid it on the table beside me. A photo. It was Sam. Pale. Eyes closed. "No," I whispered. "We found him in a warehouse near the river," the officer said. "DOA. Same drug in his system as you. We're investigating it as a homicide." My whole body went cold. "I don't understand," I murmured. "He wasn't real, was he?" The officer tilted his head. "Eli? The guy at the bar. The one who poisoned us." He flipped through his notes. "We checked the hollow security footage. You and your friend were there, talking, drinking. But there's no sign of anyone else sitting with you. No man in a coat." "That's impossible," I said. "He was right there." The officer paused. Then, carefully, he pulled out another photo. My blood ran cold. It was a grainy still from the security footage. I was sitting at the table, staring at nothing. Talking, smiling, laughing, alone. Sam sat beside me, looking more and more uncomfortable. Eventually, he stood up, clearly trying to get me to come with him. I waved him off, still talking to the empty space beside me, and then Sam left the bar. Alone. I stared at the image for a long time. Sometimes, the officer said softly, when people are drugged, they hallucinate. Their minds fill in blanks, especially when they're vulnerable. I wanted to believe that. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. Something didn't add up. I was discharged the next day. I didn't go home. I booked a hotel and locked the door. I didn't sleep. I kept hearing that voice. The way Eli said, "Mind if I join you?" The nightmares started a week later, always the same. I'm back at the Hollow. The lights are red. The jukebox hums like a heartbeat. I'm sitting at the table and he's beside me. But I'm not me. I'm Sam. And I can't move. I scream and scream, but no one hears. Then one night, I check my phone. No notifications, no messages, except one, from an unknown number. A voicemail, I play it. It's my own voice. Don't trust him. I messed up. I think he put something in my... And it cuts off, exactly like Sam's. The realization crashes into me like ice. I was Sam. That night, somehow something took me, wore me like a mask. I was just a passenger, watching, powerless. And whatever Eli is, he's still out there, waiting for someone else to invite him in.